So, could an idea from over 1600 years ago still explain our world today? Well, we're about to dive into a book that tries to do just that. It was written during a time of total crisis to answer some of the biggest questions about life, faith, and society. All right, let's get into it.
First, you've got to picture ancient Rome. I mean, for centuries, it was the absolute center of the known world. It was this shining symbol of power and order that pretty much everyone thought would last forever. It was, without a doubt, the superpower of its day.
Then, in the year 410, something completely unthinkable happened. A group called the Visigoths broke through the city's defenses and just sacked Rome. This wasn't just a battle lost, it was a psychological earthquake. If mighty Rome could fall, was anything safe? A huge crisis of confidence just swept across the entire empire.
So, in all that chaos, people started scrambling for answers. And a pretty popular theory started making the rounds. This whole disaster happened because Rome had turned its back on its traditional gods to follow Christianity. The old gods, they said, were furious and had taken away their protection.
For the people living through it, this really felt like the end of the world. I mean, an event this huge needed an equally massive explanation, and the whole debate over who to blame was threatening to tear their already fragile society apart.
And this is where our main character steps onto the stage. A brilliant thinker and church leader named Augustine decided to take on this enormous question. He wanted to offer a completely new way of looking at, well, everything. At history, at faith, at the meaning of it all.
Now, Augustine wasn't always a saint. He was born in North Africa, a super smart and restless guy who spent years searching for truth in all kinds of different philosophies, just trying to figure things out. After a pretty intense conversion experience, he became a bishop, and in 413 he started writing his masterpiece, City of God, a project that would take him, get this, 13 years to finish.
So, what was the point of this huge book? Well, part of it was to defend Christianity from the accusation that it destroyed Rome. But his bigger goal was to give people a way to understand human history that showed them, hey, the fall of some earthly empire isn't the end of the story. His own search for meaning had really prepared him for this moment.
To make his big argument, Augustine came up with this really powerful central idea, a metaphor. He said that all of humanity through all of time can be sorted into one of two cities. And this single idea, it's the key to his entire way of thinking.
Now, when he says cities, he's not talking about actual places you can visit, not at all. They're symbolic communities. They're two different kinds of societies that are defined not by where you live, but by what you love the most. It's all about what truly drives you deep down.
Let's break that down. First, you have the earthly city. This group is driven by the love of self, almost to the point of ignoring anything bigger. Its members are chasing temporary things, power, fame, money, and its core attitude is pride. Then you have the city of God. It's driven by a love for God, even to the point of forgetting yourself. Its members are seeking lasting, spiritual truth, and their core attitude is humility.
And here's the really interesting part. You can't just look at someone and know which city they belong to. Augustine said that right now, members of both cities are completely mixed together. Think of it like this. Two people could be on the same basketball team. One person plays for personal glory, the cheers, the scholarship. The other one plays for the love of the game and to help their teammates succeed. Same action on the court, totally different motivation.
Okay, so now that we have this framework of the two cities, let's see how Augustine uses it to answer some of life's absolute biggest questions.
First up, a big one. If the world was created to be good, then where does evil come from? Augustine's answer here was revolutionary. He said evil isn't actually a thing. It's not some dark force out there fighting against good. No, evil is an absence of goodness. Kind of like how cold is just the absence of heat.
He used a brilliant analogy to explain it. He said evil is like blindness. Blindness isn't a substance you can hold or a monster you can fight. It's just the lack of the ability to see in an eye that was made for sight. Evil is what's left when goodness is supposed to be there, but isn't.
So, if evil is just an absence, how does it show up? Well, Augustine points the finger right back at us. He argued that we have free will, and evil enters the world when we use that freedom to choose lesser things, like our own desires, over higher truths. It's like we choose to turn away from the light, and in doing so, we create a shadow.
And get this idea also completely changed how people thought about time. A lot of ancient cultures saw history as a giant repeating circle, like a cosmic hamster wheel. Augustine said, nope. History is a straight line. It's not a wheel, it's a road.
It had a definite beginning, we're on the journey right now, and it's headed to a final destination. History is actually going somewhere.
You can see how these two different ways of loving lead to totally different views of the world. For the earthly city, justice is just about human laws to keep order, kind of like a hall monitor, making sure nobody gets out of line. But for the city of God, justice is about something much deeper, giving everyone what is truly fair and right. And peace? For one city, it's just a fragile ceasefire. For the other, it's a deep, lasting harmony where everything is in its proper place.
So all of this leads to a very practical question, one Augustine was deeply interested in. With all this in mind, what does it actually take to live a good, happy life?
For Augustine, the answer was crystal clear. He said, you're never going to find true happiness in things that can be taken away from you, like money or fame. Real, lasting happiness comes from something called virtue. And he defined virtue in a really interesting way. It's simply the proper ordering of our loves. It means loving the most important things the most.
So at the end of the day, it all boils down to our priorities. And for Augustine, the single most important choice we make, the one that really defines which city we're a citizen of, is between two fundamental attitudes that shape everything else.
And that choice is between pride and humility. He saw pride, that desire to be your own God, to put yourself at the absolute center of the universe, as the root of all our problems. It's the building block of the earthly city. Humility, on the other hand, means recognizing your limits and your place in the grand scheme of things. He called it the foundation of all virtue, and it's the very bedrock of the city of God.
So, what's the bottom line here? First, your choices really, truly matter. Second, history isn't just random stuff happening. It's a story with a purpose. Third, true happiness isn't about what you have, but about what you love and in what order. And finally, that choice between pride and humility, it doesn't just shape who you are, it determines your ultimate destination.
Augustine's huge idea, born from the ashes of ancient Rome, leaves us with a really powerful final thought. He's suggesting that with every small choice we make, every single day, we're laying down another brick. We are actively building the city that we will ultimately live in. So the only question left is, which one are you building?